ladies. We're
What
back.
is up, girls?
Hello.
Mom proof. The art of being comfortable with being uncomfortable. We're really getting good at that whole vibe of being comfortable with being uncomfortable. We're sharing that.
And you know what? I've seen that phrase more and more now.
I know. Someone's
Really? Is it
borrowing
because
it.
we're talking about
Yes.
it? Okay,
think
let's
so.
hope so.
Not for anything, but I don't know if you noticed at the Awesome Women's
Okay.
magazine that we went to, they talked a lot about being in, feeling you're uncomfortable or learning from your failures. I don't like that word failure,
Right.
but how people are learning from things that they're not achieving.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the, well, that's why we started this, right? Is making sure that our kids as teenage parents are cool with
They're
not
not
feeling
teenage
good all the
parents.
Sorry. As parents
Parents of
of teenagers.
Teenage parents.
Shh, no.
Golly.
We've
Okay.
made it this far.
Yeah.
You're right. About
Sorry to interrupt.
No,
but I just
that
like
was
we
that was
cannot not
important.
correct that.
No,
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No.
But yes, being okay with
That's
not
why
being
we
okay.
started this.
And
That's right.
that's why we started this, is to really share with other parents
And I
how important it is to let your kids sit in being uncomfortable.
The dissonance.
Yes.
And I did want
Yeah.
to say something to anybody who's listening or viewers, if you're watching it on YouTube, is like share the podcast, because sometimes, we're talking casually, but things come up that resonate with other people, and we just really want to help and chime in on the conversation. Let us know.
Thank you, Sandra. Why are we
It's true.
doing this? We're not out to make $1 million bucks. Thank God for that. But we do want to share. And I think with our experience, I have 6 kids. You have 2. You have 2. We've done a lot of parenting.
Yes.
Done a lot of homework on how to parent and be a better parent. And we do want to share those things that we learn.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Share, comment,
Share.
talk about it.
Well, and I wonder, if people know we're on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, right?
Yes.
So that's the
And
three,
you're going
right?
to be doing a special dance on TikTok.
like
for,
Jason
Right?
Kelsey.
oh,
Oh, did you see that?
no, I heard about it.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
He looked really good. Anyway.
I thought you were going to do it right now.
No, I can't. We have to play that song.
No,
by,
but you're what
anyway.
one?
What?
What song? What's
Well-
your favorite song?
Oh God, it's that one. It's out. It's
Shabuzi.
No,
Oh, I
his
don't
last name is Richmond. Tommy
Oh, no.
Richmond.
Okay.
It's called $1 Million Baby.
Oh no, I don't know.
$1 Million Baby.
Look at you go. All right. All right.
Anyway, let's get
Okay.
focused.
Focus back on parenting. There goes the ADHD.
It does.
See, and our kids have that too. And how do we handle that?
Well,
Do we let
especially
them
with the
go?
with the things going on with the scrolling. Oh my gosh. I saw this is ADHD, but I think it's really important as we talk about, keeping up with the kids at this age and still reminding them they have things to learn, manners, how to manage political banter, just things that are really
Yes.
relevant as you get older. But I watched this special on National Geographic with Oprah Winfrey covering AI.
Oh, I saw that too.
Okay. And the guy who came up with perpetual scrolling, he came up with perpetual scrolling, never thought it would lead to the amount of wasted brain time and space that's happening for our young adults. So I thought that was just such an interesting thing for him to say. I really didn't see it like it was going to end up. And sometimes
Interesting.
you do something for good and it doesn't come out that way. And he's really sad that perpetual
Oh.
scrolling and AI might be the same thing, right? As we watch that develop anyway.
Yeah.
So, as a parent, what are some things that we can do to bring our kids back down
Yeah.
to kind of reality?
Yeah.
Dinner time together.
Totally. Always. Reminding them to get out in nature.
Mm-hmm.
Always. Having your core 5 people that you touch base with, or you can if you need support. And kind of just learning how to put your damn phone down.
Yeah. And on that, I'm going to tell you one thing that I am so guilty of, and I'm trying to do better,
Uh-oh.
is that I'm in a room yelling at my son to do something, and I know he's on the phone, or I know that he's on the computer or watching YouTube. And I just keep yelling, right? Instead of walking into the room, turning off the TV, or taking the phone or borrowing the phone.
Yes. Just
And
removing it.
nicely, but that is just so much more effective, because it's I'm just sitting there, and after 5 times, I'm like, this is not working.
No. It took you 5 times.
Yeah, it's I have
Thank
to
you
go
for
over
being
there
authentic
That was
and
authentic.
vulnerable.
and just,
Yeah.
oh, what am I doing? I was like, I'm just going to go over there and
Actually, talk to him.
Talk to him and say, can you please put that away and like give me the phone or,
So do you think they're being disrespectful? Like when do we know, as we teach manners and we teach kids how to be polite, especially to other people, you want it in the home setting, but you also want to see them perform. Oh, that was not the right word. Because I don't want a performance.
Right.
I want it to really be who they are, that they care about interacting with people in a healthy,
to develop
relationally.
You can't develop relationships if you're behind a screen or if you're watching. I don't think they're being disrespectful. I personally don't think that. I'm not an expert. This is just my opinion. I think they almost get hypnotized.
Oh, by the screen?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like just watching.
It's a way to decompress.
But adults do it. Have you ever been talking to an adult or gone to dinner with someone and they can't get off their phone?
I know. I took a really deep breath right then. You did too.
It's not just children.
No. So it's up to us.
It's a
parents
dopamine
to really
thing, though, isn't it? I've read that it's just like
triggering the dopamine.
It's yeah.
So we have to find other ways to have discussions.
Yes,
and
I
I
do
think
teachings and lessons,
boundaries. Right. If you're at the dinner table, put your phone out. We're all guilty of it. I mean, everybody does it.
Yeah.
I was thinking just when you said that about the phones, one of my kids, when he was younger, he was a fact checker. If he was going to prove me wrong or his dad wrong, no matter what, he would go find it. And now in a discussion, it's a matter of this. We talk about something and in 10 seconds, that fact is up. And it's something I've learned to really love and appreciate about him. But when he was younger, I just couldn't pull him away from that. I have to know. So I think knowing your kids and different hot buttons.
Good one.
And teaching them to be well-mannered in other areas.
If he was in, let's say, a dinner with the, chancellor of a university, I don't know why I said that. Would he want to fact check that?
No.
Okay, right, because you taught him.
Right. So
the audience.
There are some things that you have to teach your kids.
You do.
Right. And that's manners. That's a big, big.
Don't call people liars.
Ooh, bruh. How about bruh?
Bruh. No, but when I was a kid, I would say stuff like my parents were not telling the truth. And I would say, that's not true. And I get so much
like
trouble.
they might be like embellishing something
or
to say.
just saying something and it wasn't true.
And you would call them out right there.
Out.
Well, that was kind of cool, though, actually. That's kind of neat.
No, it's not.
No, I know. I would too.
And so now.
instead we teach them how to lie good, anyway.
No, but that's the first thing I taught my kids. Like, if I say something,
back me up.
Back me up.
Have my back. Well, what about when you go to a restaurant or, you see a young person who hasn't been trained.
Okay.
I mean, and it may be the napkin or, you are really good about teaching that.
I am a freak about manners. Thank you to my parents.
Do you have any books you could recommend on that?
I just happen to have one.
I saw that on the table. You made me, and she's wearing pink.
I know. Pink. Mind Your Manners. Sarah Jane Ho.
Hold it up there.
This is a cool book. Yeah. But, I did want to talk about manners, and that's part of what I think we're missing in this generation is some parents, we can do better. We really can. And, a lot of it is how you're brought up. So I have taught my kids, if they are around other kids, to share experiences. You don't have to dude, that's not right. Do this. But certain things with manners, easy things. Sit down, put your napkin on your lap first, and don't lick your fingers. Okay, can we start with that? Just don't lick your fingers.
Train my whole family.
I mean, you can do it at home.
Put the dang napkin on your lap, right? And I think remember in 7th grade, we tried to get the girls together. This was before we knew you. And we didn't leave you out.
Don't feel excluded.
But we tried with this little group and we really were having a couple of meetings on let's see if we can help train them. This was kind of fun too. The girls were hanging out. Yeah. But I think a lot of people aren't that intentional with certain nuances.
They have I've seen kids go to a lot of manners.
Yes. Remember Cotillion?
Yes.
That was kind of a thing about manners, wasn't it?
They're still doing
They still do that.
Yes.
Learning how to dance together. And
it's cute. I love it.
What about knowing what to wear?
Not have taught that.
Oh, really? Like when you go to church, when you go to a business meeting, when you go to HEB, maybe there are different ways to dress. And I think that's fallen by the wayside in our generation.
With teenagers too, right? Yeah. Up to a certain point, we have a say. Mm-hmm. After that, they're really going to dress the way they see fit.
Completely.
But we instill that as they are getting older. And one of my rules with my kids was showing less is more, period. Showing less is more. So,
And you have to model that
Yes,
as well, though. You
you
know what I
do.
mean? We can't be walking around in the skimpies and not
Right.
think they're
and just because you can doesn't mean
that's
you should. Mhm.
And I think too, it's the way that you say it. I mean, because
Are you
I-
wearing that? Never works.
yeah.
Never works.
Right.
Or like if you're at the dinner table and your kids are holding their silverware incorrectly, you could, I've seen people that they'll yell at their kids, right? And that isn't going to do any good. But if you just say, this is how you're supposed to hold it, and you may have to say it several times or years
Years.
before
It's
they
years.
even get it,
It's years.
Cheers.
And I think sharing in a fun way. One tip I share with my friends or family or whatever is the D&B rule. The D&B
Oh, I
rule
love
is
that.
this. If you do D&B, this is a D on your right hand, B on your left. This is where your drink is on the table. We sit down on the table and there are glasses everywhere. If you're in an event or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
fancy, how do you know which water is yours? How do you know which bread plate is yours?
Mm.
B, bread is always right here. D, drink is right there.
It's
So
so
these
good.
little tips.
What if you're thinking beverage?
I did think of that.
No, Sandra, don't mess it up.
Yes, she had a
This is
thing.
before wine, and hopefully kids are not drinking. D, drink. B, bread.
That's good. Yeah, but how about when there's like 3 forks?
Mhm.
We're not
Go
gonna get
from
into-
the outside
yes,
in.
Of course. Does she have that in there?
Miss Ho says, Sarah, I'm just going to open it.
Yeah.
for
There's
you.
always a little spoon up here, and that's for your coffee.
Yes.
That's
and the
right.
dessert,
And the dessert
stuff.
is up here, right
Yes.
on the top. Yes.
Ooh,
And
she's
I thought
good.
it
What are her
was like-
table of contents? Rita's table of
Okay.
contents. 'Cause that
Oh.
helped. Yeah.
All right.
See, I was an English teacher.
She didn't ask for this either.
I know. She did not.
Part 1, social life and friendship. Part 2, work, dating and relationships,
Dang.
family, food and travel.
That's
So-
manners on travel. Oh,
Dating
Lord.
apps. Not that we need this anymore, but your profile photos should be recent and recognizably you. Yeah, guys, put some photo up there when you're like 30, and you say you're 6 foot and really you're 5'7".
Ugh,
Lie.
that's bad.
Oh, how do I help my partner have better table manners when I'm out with my boss?
Oh, hopefully you worked on that at home first with your
Yeah.
partner. Right.
You know what? That's good because it's like modern stuff. It's
Save
not
your.
like-
Oh, I love this. Save your etiquette for your children. If your partner doesn't have it by now, forget it. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Eric's good.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I love that she
you
had
know-
the stuff in there about the dating apps. It was very
This is good.
Yeah, very current.
And
Well-
so now that you're talking about that, though, what do you do? Like, because this goes with manners. When people are talking about something and maybe you don't agree with them, it could be religion, politics.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good right now
Financial.
politically. What do we
Yeah.
what do we do with this? And I'm teaching my kids to err on the side of being a little more quiet unless you're with someone that you feel like you can have a decent and logical conversation. And that person that you're talking to with they will appreciate the fact that you may have a difference of opinion. If not, you can say things like, I appreciate what you're thinking, or we're in a tough place right now. Just kind of innocuous things that
Yes,
say,
that's really
gosh,
good.
our world is crazy. This is going to be a rough go. Let's all hope we can get through it alive.
Yeah.
right.
But
No,
it
that's
is
awesome.
important to just say things that are, unless you feel like you need to really fight with everyone, do we? I don't think so.
No.
No.
And
But
I do
like-
have some kids that they
Do
want
that.
they
do.
want to say more of their opinion, and it's about the time and place.
Yeah.
It's
Audience.
time and place.
But I mean, my son's in 6th grade and he says they have political discussions in the classroom.
Yeah. And that's
Wow.
And,
that's something
she's-
I don't have
yeah.
to worry about now. I
Yeah.
feel for you.
He said in history, I think it was, that they were all talking about politics, and he said he stayed really quiet. He didn't say his opinion or anything, but he said he felt comfortable with the teacher. And then once the conversations got started, he felt a little bit more comfortable. So he felt like, oh, I think I can say something.
Yeah, that's
Kudos
cool
to that
she-
teacher.
I was going to say she
That's
set
good.
up a safe environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess he said something that she didn't agree with, and she just said, "You know what? I love a good conspiracy theory." And so I was like, "Oh yeah, you could tell like
Y-
she's
Yeah, she had her.
So what,
yeah.
yeah.
opinion.
So
yeah.
what's our advice for other parents?
Well, I love what you said. I mean, everything just
Yeah.
nailed it. And at home, though, I think it's good for you to help your kids understand why you do have maybe a preference over someone you might be voting for, or you go to a particular church, why? Or you don't go to church,
It's
why?
those
Like actually
non-negotiables, right?
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
value system. This is why I'm voting this way, because my values are here. I'm more in the middle here because of this. but
Yes.
this is
Yeah.
so
Same
those
with
discussions
religion
are
or
good.
yeah.
Mhm.
Or, if you're dating and you're having that thing about abstinence or not, or, the whole thing comes up when our kids are dating, and that's a tough one
That
because,
is a tough one.
how do you,
Dating, or even when you're older and dating.
Yes.
I left a man at a restaurant. You know who you are.
oh,
He was rude to the waitress, and I got up and left. So you have to have certain things.
wow, that is great, non-negotiable. What to say to your kiddos, so we have an example right now where maybe one of our kids is dating someone who's older and they live alone and he or she may want to go visit that person and sleep the night there. And we just have non-negotiables about that.
You should
It's
at
a
every level
family
of
value, right? But I love how you just encompass it in family values.
Yeah.
If you just say, we vote this way, mom and dad think this, but you don't give any foundation, that leaves them just feeling like there's just like kind of a militant vibe in the house.
Family dinners. Family dinners. Let's see what else she says.
Well, it's still one of the most researched thing.
That's right.
Well, remember
Oh,
when
this
our
is
parents
good.
used to say, "It's because I said so."
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right. That means
Do as I say,
nothing.
not as I do. I still
Yeah.
kind of like that one.
I do like that one.
20-second rule.
Okay. Oh, what is it?
I always advise using the 20-second rule to monitor yourself. Don't speak for more than 20 seconds at a time. Think of a conversation as a traffic signal. In the
Oh.
first 20 seconds, you've got a green light. Person you're chatting with is engaged and joined, but beyond that, you hit a yellow light. I feel like I'm already past 20
That's
seconds.
37
That was too long.
No, that was
But
brilliant.
that's good.
That
That's good
was
advice.
awesome.
But manners, really. I mean, I see sometimes kids, certain things. If they're spending the night at your house, please make up the bed when you leave. Don't leave towels on the floor. I mean, there's certain things that our kids should know.
Yes.
And you know
They-
what's
they should
good?
know.
I tell my son this. If you have good manners and you're polite to parents, other parents, you could probably get away with murder. Seriously. Because I love a polite kid.
yes.
We all do.
and
There's an
I
Eddie
would
Haskell on
never
every street.
exactly. And I'm like, that kid probably could be doing terrible things. I don't know, but he's polite, and I'm like, oh, that kid is just so amazing.
Isn't it also cool when you might hear through a parent that like your kid's room is a mess or something, but then you hear from another parent that they were at their house and how helpful they were with
And
picking
that's
up
a
after that.
whole other thing.
Isn't that impressive though? You know that it's getting
yes.
in there.
Yeah.
They just feel comfortable enough at home to potentially A, disobey you, feels good to push back, and B, they're used to getting picked up after.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But also, like, a big thing is like looking at someone when they're talking to you.
Oh.
Because I remember my daughter
Sure.
used to have a lot of friends that would come over
And they couldn't do
and
it.
they would look down or they just walk past you. And there was nothing like that one kid that would come up and say hello to you
Yep.
and look you in the eyes when you're talking to them.
That's so true.
And that's just so impactful.
Yeah, eye contact. But in some cultures, that's not the same. You know what
It's
I mean?
different.
Like
Yeah.
so, yeah,
Yeah.
it's understanding people. But yes, I think if a kiddo can look you in the eye and do a quick handshake for, it could be 10 seconds.
Yeah.
That does show some acknowledgement and respect. And it's probably in that book.
I'm sure.
I have to
it is.
finish it. I haven't started it yet, but I will.
Something we
Because
can
Jamie
open up
recommended
to.
it, so-
I know. Well, you know how I am about manners. It's a big deal. I mean, we're talking about parenting. I feel like that is a part of parenting. Is we should teach our kids how to
Yes.
say please and thank you, be kind to others, and pick up after yourself.
It's just so basic.
Yeah,
And now that they're gone,
and D&B.
D&B,
Mhm.
bread and
Drink.
drink.
No,
Beverage.
y'all.
She's going for the beverage. Dang it.
Drinking bread.
Well, I mean, when they're at college though, and you're just we're making the assumption that they're doing what we've taught them, and it sounds like they are from what we see and hear from them. But what about if you have to correct them at this age and you have some non-negotiables? They're not really under our roof. They may financially be connected to us, but how is the best way? I mean, family dinner, that's not happening as often.
Right.
How do we, and they don't want to feel lectured when you talk to
Yeah.
them because she's,
Yeah.
3,000 miles away. How do we remember, what's our best nugget for trying to get them to hear us
When
about,
it comes to manners, or just in general?
Just kind of maybe some non-negotiables if you don't think they're maybe they're not taking care of themselves. Maybe you can tell they're getting run down. They're partying too much. They, I don't know. I guess, yeah.
I think we have to let them just do what they need to do.
Yeah,
It
that's
is.
when
So we
the
go back to kind of
consequence-
the natural consequence
the
from
natural
the
consequences.
other
What are you
episode.
gonna do?
Yeah.
You're
But don't
not-
come to my house.
Okay.
No, I'm
good
kidding.
one.
I'm
No,
kidding.
that's a good point, though.
No, I can only speak from experience with I've got a lot of kids, and they may say I might have been pretty tough with the manners. And if there's one thing today that they
are really
are okay with me having been tough with,
That's great.
I feel like that's one spot in parenting I may
Do you
not
feel like
have
you
done
were
too bad.
special tough on like something like that's a great?
But it also takes time. I don't believe you can get a 10-year-old boy
yeah.
to put his napkin on his lap, sit
Yeah.
properly, and not lick his fingers. I don't believe that. The whole idea is for when they're adults.
Yeah,
And they
Yeah.
go
You're
off into the
planting your little
world.
seeds.
Yeah, you're planting the
Yeah.
seeds.
No, and I mean, I try, but you're right. He's,
I mean,
all
look
over
at
the
my
board. But I
grandson.
just
He's-
always say, okay, you better learn the manners because when you go to a girl's house, and your parents,
That's good.
and he just laughs. But I'm hoping that he'll remember that, right?
Yes.
Like something that, like, even though it's silly, but he's like,
The
oh, I
anchor.
remember when my mom used to say that to me.
That's sweet.
But I mean, he's gotten much better though.
that's neat.
I think it's just not calling him up, but I'm always like, hey, don't forget, this is how you hold
Right.
your fork or chew with your mouth closed, for God's sake.
Oh my! I think mine will say
Okay,
all
so
my
no phone at the table.
no phone on the table. My mom, they'll say mom always would capture us and have to talk about no drugs and alcohol. Like that was always my thing, right? And so that's going to be theirs. Probably it's going to just ingrain in their head. I'm not saying they're not doing it. I'm just saying that's going to be their one. They're like, mom really wrote us on that.
Who did the say no, just say no? Was that Nancy Reagan?
That was Nancy Reagan.
R.I.P.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
She was a good girl.
The Reagan movie.
I know. I can't wait to see
Okay,
it. With
So
Dennis
back
Quaid.
to parenting.
Yes, sorry.
Yes. So we want to share those tips,
too.
right? Manners are very important. I think sometimes in our busy schedules, we get away from that when we have younger
good.
kids and teenagers. Just reminders, and texts are okay too. Texts are love language.
Love language.
Parents, remember, send them out there, and then have
Notes.
your boundaries, your expectations, and non-negotiables.
Yes.
Yeah.
We used to call that our family code in a sense. And we had put that on a wall. It was a very small document that I typed up and I made it look real cute. And it had like 2 or 3 non-negotiables. And then it had like positive things that would come of them if they would follow these things. And then it would be like some negative things. And we had the family code and it was up on the wall.
I love it.
And
And,
then-
bribery is okay.
Bribery's okay.
Yes. Good. Good. It is.
It is.
Right. That's brave parenting. It's
Well,
hard.
and it is what is their love language. If we have to find out what makes them tick, if it is the phone, if it's YouTube, if it's socializing, if it's a car, whatever
Right.
it is, that's your leverage.
Got it.
That's kind of bribery.
Yeah.
Knowing the leverage.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's your turn for the question container.
Yay. Okay. Hope it's not one that I can't answer.
Oh gosh.
Bum, bum, bam.
You can do it.
Okay. What's the most memorable or absurd fashion choice? We kind of talked about ours. Your teen has made, and how did you handle it when they proudly strutted out the door? So memorable or absurd fashion choice, and it can't be something for a costume party.
Memorable
or
or
absurd.
observe.
Absurd, like obnoxious, just like
Oh no.
fashion choice. But that's kind of trends that they went through.
I never thought I would be my parents. And they're saying, "Can turn that down," or "Are you wearing that?" Or but I guess we all have that. What's in style for them is not for us, and are we okay with it?
The short shorts with the very long t-shirts that the
Oh,
girls
yeah.
were doing,
Oh.
and you couldn't see the shorts
Yeah.
underneath,
Yeah.
Okay.
but the
That's a good one.
that is a good one. That was like middle school.
Yeah.
At least for the generation our girls are. Yeah.
Mhm.
Are the girls wearing that in middle school now? Do you see them when they're walking?
No, now they wear
The Lulu and
Lululemon
yeah,
little
okay, so all that
skirts.
stuff trickles to the younger because that's
Mhm.
what our
Yeah.
kids were using in high school. We're wearing in high school.
Yeah, I think for me, I think when Sophia was like in middle school, like just when they're starting to feel like they're older, and girls are so different than boys,
For sure.
and she would wear stuff that I was not comfortable with. I just remember I never would say anything negative.
Was it risque?
Well, I thought it
A little
was
edgy?
a
'Cause
little
there's edge-
edgy.
Well, I
yeah.
think we're going to have to play a little game with our kids and say, all right, see if you
But she went back to
can
look
point
at
anything out
pictures,
on our.
and
on
she
us.
says, "I can't believe you let me leave the house looking like that."
That's great.
And that was like,
I've had Reagan say that to me
but I
without
was
her
never-
no makeup on. She's like, "What?" I go, "You were in 7th grade. You didn't care." She goes, "Oh my god!" Like just like the natural face is beautiful.
but with my
Aw.
son, he always comes out wearing like, I don't know, purple shorts with yellow shirt. I don't know. It's a little dramatic,
Great.
but it's because it doesn't matter to him. And sometimes I'm like just staring at him like, why are you wearing that? But then,
I love it. He's
I'm like,
bold. We know
do
he marches
you?
to a different beat, right? That kid.
and so I don't say anything, but
Can we have him on
it's
here?
kind of scary to tell your kids.
Well, we
So-
didn't say we said anything, did we, women?
No.
No,
Wait a minute.
experts would say let your kids dress the way
Yeah,
the way
and
they-
how you handled it. How did you handle? So that was good handling. I never said anything to Ray. I figured if
No,
they
I
got
didn't say
them
anything.
busted because it was
Yeah.
a violation of the dress code, that was their problem.
Again,
yeah.
kid number 6.
Yeah.
I may have gotten it right. Before I would have been like, no. Okay, I think we're going to wrap for today. That was a lot.
Dun,
I love the
dun.
manners.
Yeah,
Love the tips.
thank
That's
you
good.
for the
Until
book
next time.
recommendation.
Oh,
Let's do it
adios,
again.
amigas.
Thanks,
Thank
gals.
you.
Bye.
Take care.